Hello, my name is Lucinda Koza. I am the founder of iAlly, iAlly Inc., and I'm the CEO. And I just wanted to speak to you guys. So I founded iAlly because of my own personal experience. When I was just 32, at the end of 2018, my father had a series of strokes, and I took him to the ER. And my husband was with me, but I was the only family member who showed up at the hospital, and so we really didn't know what was going to happen to him. So I became power of attorney, healthcare proxy. I became his full-time caregiver, and I had no idea what I was doing and felt completely terrified and isolated. And I remember just being in the hospital and just sobbing because I felt like I wasn't ready to face what was upon me. But I still had no doubts that I would. So I became his full-time caregiver, and I ended up losing my job. All of which I've since found out are common occurrences, that usually the caregiver role falls on one person. Usually that person ends up having to lose their job, or having to quit their job, or they become fired, because what happens is it costs a lot of money to secure full-time care. And so when you don't have enough money to do that, you become the person to provide the care. And when you're the person to provide the care, people think you don't have time to also have a job, which there are two sides to that coin. I believe that people who are caregivers can also have a job. I also believe that people who are full-time family caregivers are already doing a full-time job, that they should be paid for, and they're not. And there are over 40 million unpaid full-time family caregivers in the United States. So, also, what really became a problem for me in that isolation, I became depressed. I had anxiety, of course, which is extremely common for caregivers. Over half of family caregivers report moderate to severe burden, and that's a real strain on the caregiver's mental health and physical health. As we all know, studies show that stress lowers the immune system and the immune response. So being out of work at this time of my life, which is supposed to be the most productive in my career, and really developing mental illness, no matter how devoted I was to, and still am, to my father, those things became something that, almost completely derailed my life. And the isolation is really what boggled my mind. I just couldn't believe that these people that maybe I thought were a part of my ecosystem had sort of disappeared, which is, again, something that's very common. And I also noticed a real lack of resources and advocacy from professionals, which is really what needs to happen in this sort of crisis situation. Someone needs to step in. Excuse me. I'm gonna have a sip of water in my steel cup. Someone needs to step in, realize that it's a crisis situation, and provide the family caregiver, especially if they're alone, and especially if they're very young, provide them the resources that we do have. And just really, there's so many of us that are going through this that none of us should feel isolated. If we band together and help each other and depend on each other, which I know we can, then we can save our own lives. We collectively can save our own mental health, physical health, financial health, and be able to maintain a job or stability, plan for the future, while being a family caregiver. So I decided I had to be this person for other people. If there was anyone else feeling the isolation that I felt, I needed to be that person to show up for them and scoop them up and say, here's what you can do. Here are all the resources I have. Here's what I've learned. And also, I am here for you every step of the way, and you can talk to me at any time. Because that isolation is killer, literally. And I want all of you to know that when you're using iAlly and when you're going through this process, which I'm still going through, I'm still my father's caregiver, I want all of you to know that you can contact me at any time. Because knowing that can save your life. And I want all of you to know that I personally am here for you, to take a stand for you and to stand with you and take action rather than just say words. I'm interested in taking action and how truly doing things for each other is actually the answer. So I want you to have that comfort that it can be the middle of the night and I am with you, and the app is free for users. It's free unless you sign up for something extra, like one of the financial literacy courses, which are incredible, only $8. And even though they might seem very basic, those are the things that we need. I mean, I wasn't taught how to do my taxes, how to control my debt and credit score and all of those things. I wasn't taught that in school. So I think, it's okay. It is okay for us to be like, no one has prepared us for this. And we need a basic plan. So the app is free. If you sign up for a financial course, if you start a patient-provider relationship, if you find a therapist or a mental health provider that you want to do telehealth with, that payment will be just between you and the provider. iAlly doesn't take any percentage of that, and that payment is not something that we regulate. Everything that is iAlly is free, and especially the mutual aid. If you need something, say it, post it. Contact me specifically if you have a question, if you want to know, if you think you should post something and you want to run it by me first. I am completely hands-on with this because I am going through this too. And I didn't have this community or these resources, so I created it. And I know that we can all show up for each other and we can change this experience, and we can keep people from being negatively affected. Because providing care for a loved one is an incredibly brave and loving and giving and selfless act. And that has nothing to do with the fact that it also is hard on you. So ultimately, it's okay. All of it. I'm ready to share my stories, the ugliness, the unattractive parts, the messiness. I think we will all be better for it if we are unafraid to share what can be an uncomfortable truth. So that's it. And I know what all of you are going through. And I love you, all of you.